What's going on, guys? It is PANJ here, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys the ultimate FPS increase guide for Valorant. With inside of this video, we're going to be helping you guys achieve the very best FPS possible alongside the most stable FPS possible to help you reduce any stuttering you might be experiencing, lowering overall input lag, and ensuring that your game is feeling as snappy and as responsive as possible whilst maintaining a great visual fidelity. Regardless of your system specs, this video is going to contain a plethora of optimizations, whether you're running on an ancient, ultra low end laptop, all the way up to the latest and greatest in gaming hardware. Regardless of your system specs, this video will be helping you achieve the very best performance possible for your machine. So if you guys do enjoy this video, please do leave a like on the video as it helps me out tremendously, alongside leaving any results, questions or queries or suggestions for other content you'd like to see come to the channel in that comment section down below, alongside any other findings you might have for FPS tweaks or optimizations. And if you guys do enjoy my content and wish to stay up to date with the channel, please do consider pressing that subscription button alongside the bell notification to be notified instantly of whenever a video goes live on my channel. With all that said and done, let's get straight on into the optimizations. To kick things off, first of all, what we're going to be doing is navigating into the description down below, where you'll be finding two download links. You only need to follow one of them, try out the first download link, and if you have any issues downloading the file, try out the second download link, download the file, place the file onto your desktop. Once you guys have got that, you'll then be seeing the Valorant FPS by PANJ pack, which has been provided to help you guys follow along with all of the steps within inside of this video. For the best results, it is highly recommended to follow along with this step and use the pack, but you can still get some great results without using the pack, and you can opt into some of the optimizations throughout this video. So if you're going to be using the pack, go ahead and right click on the pack and select the option for extract here. If you don't see the option for extract here, all you'll simply need to do is navigate over to Google, either Google WinRAR or 7-Zip, download one of those programs, install it to your PC, come back to the file, right click, and select extract here. This will then extract the folder provided with inside of there onto your desktop. Before applying any of these, it's recommended at this point to set up a system restore point, which allows you to simply change all of the settings with inside of this guide, follow along with them, boot into the game, see how they perform, and if you do like how they perform, then that's absolutely fantastic. But for any of you who wish to just try these out, and you might want to revert quickly and easily if you wish to do so, you can do so easily by setting up a system restore point within around about 20 to 30 seconds. This isn't a complete requirement, but it's definitely recommended to do this before following on. To set up a restore point, navigate to the bottom left hand side, click on the Windows key, then type in system space restore just like so. Click on the option for create a restore point. With inside of here, go down to the system restore point found here. Once you've clicked on that, the system properties tab will then open up. Go down to the selectable drives, scroll down, and we're going to be looking for your local disk C drive. This can sometimes be called system, but this should be your C drive regardless. Go ahead and highlight the drive just like so. Go down to the configure button. With inside of here, make sure that turn on system protection is checked. Then go down to max usage, and I'd recommend setting this to around about 5%. Once you guys have got that set up, go to the bottom right hand side, press apply, press OK. We can then go down to the create button and name this something you can simply remember. So we're just going to call this Valorant Backup, or anything you can remember, then hit create. After a few short moments, the system restore point will then be created. Once that's done, go ahead and press close, exit out, and we're good to continue on with the rest of the video. So to start off, we're going to be going ahead with the basic optimizations. And to do this, we're going to be navigating to the bottom left hand side, clicking on the Windows key, going to the Documents tab. With inside of here, we're then going to go down to your local disk, go inside of the Riot Games folder with inside of here, and go inside of the Valorant folder. Now, if you don't see the Riot Games folder and Valorant folder with inside of here, this means that you've chosen to install Valorant to a different drive, and it will be installed onto one of the other drives available on your PC. Go inside of the live folder. We can start off by going to the Valorant exe with inside of here. Right click on the exe, go down to properties, go to the compatibility tab, check the option for disable full screen optimizations, click change high DPI, check this box down here for high DPI override, press OK, apply, and OK. We're then going to apply that same optimization by going into the shooter game folder, going into binaries, Win64, and going down to the Valorant Win64 shipping file, right clicking, properties, compatibility, and again disable full screen, change high DPI, override, OK, apply, and OK. That basically stops Windows from being able to force on the Windows 10 game application optimizations, which in almost every case can actually deteriorate FPS on almost every machine. Once you've applied them, we can then go ahead and exit out. We can then change a quick setting with inside of Windows 10 to optimize Valorant to perform at its best. To do this, we're going to be navigating to the bottom left hand side, clicking on the Windows key, typing in game space mode, going into the game mode settings tab. Then with inside of it, go to the game mode flicker switch and actually turn this on. You should be running game mode on the later versions of Windows 10. Once that's turned on, go ahead and exit out. We can then jump into the FPS increase pack in which we installed earlier on by double clicking, going inside of the optimizations folder, and going into the Valorant process priority folder. With inside of it, you'll then be met with 3 keys. These 3 keys will actually adjust the value of Valorant's priority with inside of the Windows Task Manager every single time the game is booted. Above normal priority can sometimes boost FPS for people on around about 2 to 4 core CPUs in some cases. For the best results, usually we're going to be going with the high priority key, and you can come back inside of here and select normal to revert this change back at any time if you wish to do so. But what we're going to be doing is double clicking on high priority, selecting yes, yes, and OK. Once you guys are done with inside of there, we can then exit out of that folder. What we're now going to be doing is actually disabling a feature with inside of Windows 10 which can increase your overall input lag and cause many issues with inside of games depending on your system specs. For the most part, turning this off will improve FPS across the board for almost every single person watching, and if your PC doesn't prefer to have this option changed, you shouldn't notice much of a difference anyway. The optimization I'm talking about is actually the high precision event timer built with inside of Windows, and to access this feature, what we can do is actually navigate to the bottom left hand side, click on the Windows key, type in device space manager just like so, and open device manager. Once inside of device manager, we're then going to be scrolling all the way down to the S section for system devices, clicking on the arrow next to it to expand it. We're then going to go down to the H section and we're looking for the option that's titled High Precision Event Timer. Right clicking on the option, then selecting Disable Device. If you have an option for Enabled Device, this means that this is already turned off, and I'd recommend keeping it turned off, but if it is running, click Disable, press Yes. Once that's been disabled, go ahead and exit out. And there's a piggyback step to doing that to ensure that it's definitely disabled, and that is by going into the FPS increase pack, going inside of the command text document. You'll then find the commands to turn this on and off with inside of the Windows command prompt. So if we're going to be turning it off, you'll simply copy this command found here, which is turn off HPET, and if you wish to re-enable it, you'll copy this command down here. Assuming we're going to be turning this off, we're going to copy this command here, right click, select copy, exit out the notepad, navigate down to the bottom left hand side, click on the Windows key, and then type in CMD just like so. Go ahead and right click on the command prompt, run this as an administrator, and select yes. Once inside of here, we're then going to go ahead and press Ctrl V on our keyboard to paste that command and then press enter. If this comes up with an error occurred whilst attempting to delete this means that the value is already deleted and the HPET is actually already turned off. If it says that the operation is successful, your event timer will then be switched off just like so. And again, if you wish to revert this change, you'll simply copy that command I showed you earlier on to re-enable it with inside of the command prompt just like so, and that will then re-enable it. We can then go ahead and exit out of the command prompt as the optimization has been completed and will be in effect after the next system restart. This now leads us on to the point in the video where we're actually going to be booting into the game to further optimize our in-game settings to tailor them towards our system specs for the best results possible. Once we are done editing the settings with inside of the game, I'm going to be showing you a couple of quick config tweaks in which we can make to further complement our FPS if you wish to get even more gains, and we'll then be finalizing with a few more vital optimizations outside of the game to give you guys the best overall experience. Now before booting into the game, I'd like to recommend an optional optimization in which you can opt into at this point, and that's by taking yourself into the description down below to the optional optimization available, which is actually going to be the Bitsum Process Lasso tool. This tool basically acts as an advanced task manager with inside of Windows, which automatically sets your settings for each application automatically when the program is running, meaning that you can customize which CPU cores are being used by the game, the priority of the game, and other features with inside of here, and every single time the game is booted, these settings are applied automatically. Whereas with the default Windows Task Manager, most of these settings are available, but you do have to set them every single time you boot the game. It is recommended to follow along with this optimization, but I know some people like to have lightweight tweaks with inside of their PCs, and that's absolutely fine. But if you do wish to opt into this, at this point I would recommend clicking the download button, installing the program, and once the program is installed, you'll then be brought to a UI that looks very similar to this. What we're then going to be doing is simply minimizing out of this, leaving the program running in the background before we boot into the game. As the optimizations we're going to be setting to that, you actually need the game to be open in the background. So for now, whether you're going to be opting into that optimization or not, regardless of that, we're going to be booting into the game. Once you guys have booted into the game, what we're going to be doing is starting off by going to the top left hand side, clicking on the Valorant logo, then going to the settings tab. With inside of here, we can start off with the general tab, and with inside of here, what we're going to be doing is scrolling all the way down to the other section. With inside of here, what we're going to be doing is actually going down to show mature content. You can actually get a quite significant FPS boost regardless of your system specs by turning this off. Go down to the explicit language filter, you can turn this on or off if you wish to do so. Instability indicators, so you can have them on if you wish to get the extra information, but I wouldn't recommend it. Network buffering, this is going to be changed depending on the reliability and strength of your connection. If you guys are running a hardwired LAN cable into the back of your computer, I'd recommend clicking on minimum, but if you guys have unstable internet or are using wireless internet that's halfway across the house, or the connection can sometimes be patchy, you can try out moderate. We're then going to be going down to show bullet traces, and this is highly recommended to actually have turned off. Show spectator count can be turned off as well if you wish to do so, and by scrolling up you can see all of my other settings with inside of here. If you wish to copy these you can, but for the most part these do not change FPS in our personal preference, but if you wish to see how to set your game up with a really nice looking HUD, this is what I would recommend. Do also remember that you can come in here with inside of the enemy highlight color, and this will actually change the outline of enemies with inside of the game. You can go with purple, two different types of yellow, or red. Once you guys have got those settings, once all of those settings have been changed, we can then go ahead to the top to the video tab. With inside of here, we're going to start by going to the resolution and selecting the resolution and refresh rate for your monitor. I'm using a 2560 by 1440p panel at 240 Hz. So go ahead and select the resolution and refresh rate which matches your monitor. Display mode, this is going to be set differently depending on your use case and your system specs, and this can change from patch to patch depending on what they implement with inside of the game, so it is best to actually boot into the practice mode and change these settings on the fly to see which gives you the best FPS. For the most part, if you're running on a sort of medium end to high end PC, windowed full screen can actually sometimes give you the best FPS. This will also help with you alt tabbing, making that almost instantaneous, so if you're someone that likes to alt tab quite a lot and you're running on a sort of middle of the park PC, windowed full screen can actually give you the best frames. On the previous patch, windowed full screen actually worked the best for my high-end gaming PC, which I'm recording this video on, but now I'm seeing around about a 5% increase in frames by using full screen. So do experiment around with this feature, as there isn't really a best use case scenario, but it's definitely recommended to see which one works best for you. Monitor can be kept as default, aspect ratio can be set default as well. Once you guys have got those settings changed, make sure that you do press the apply button. You can then go down to the limiting FPS options. You can choose these if you're running on a laptop and you can set these up as per your settings. The only options I would recommend changing in the FPS limiter options would be limit FPS in menus, turning this on and setting this to either 30 or 60. You don't need to have extra frames inside of the menu, and it will just increase load and temperature to the graphics card you are using. Limit FPS in background, again I'd probably turn that on and set that to 30, so that's when you minimize the game, it's not running at its full speed. And limit FPS always, I'd recommend turning off unless you're on a lower end gaming laptop which can overheat. If you want to keep temperatures down, I would recommend capping your FPS and capping it close to your screen's refresh rate. But if you want the best competitive edge and cooling isn't really an issue, turn this off and we're then good to go. We can then navigate over to the graphics quality tab. This is where things get quite interesting. Multi-threaded rendering, if this is an option available to you, definitely turn this on regardless of your system specs. Having this turned on and using the process lasso tool to actually modify this slightly, which I'll show you after this, can work fantastically. So turn this on. Material quality is recommended to have set to low. Texture quality, you can set this as per your system specs if you wish to have your game look a little bit sharper, but for me these are my complete recommended settings for the best competitive edge. If you do wish to set the texture quality to match your system specs, go with high for high-end systems, medium for medium end, and vice versa. I'm going to be going with medium end. Detail quality I'd recommend setting to low. UI quality can be set to medium at the highest. We can then turn on vignette if you wish to do so, as this can make some UI elements such as your abilities available to you and your ammo count a little bit more easier to read. VSync is going to be switched off. Anti-aliasing is going to be selected to none. If you don't like how jaggy the game looks, you can turn this to MSAA 2 times, but this will tank your FPS, so it is definitely recommended to hit this to none. Anisotropic filtering should be set to 1 times. Improved clarity should be switched off. Bloom off, distortion off, and first person shadow should be switched off as well. Once all of the settings are set up, go to the stats tab found here at the top, and it's highly recommended to have these all hidden, or at the most set this to text only. Do not run the graphs, as these graphs can sometimes tank your FPS, so if you do wish to see what any of these options are within inside of the game and keep an eye on your CPU time, packet loss or frame rate, have this set to text only, and all of the other options you don't wish to have set to hide. Then once you guys are done with inside of there and all of the settings are set up, it is recommended to actually go ahead and hit close settings, go to the play button, go to practice, and boot into the shooting range to have a look what your new settings look like. Don't pay attention too much to what the FPS looks like, as there is still a few more optimizations we're going to be applying with inside of this video, so don't take the FPS you're getting as a final result, but it should be a decent enough indication of whether or not you like the settings visually. So once you're done with inside of there, go to the top left hand side, click on the Valorant key, and hit exit to desktop. For those who opted into the bit sum or process lasso optimization I was talking about earlier on, before you close out of your game, it's important that you actually alt tab out and open up process lasso on top of the game. Once inside of the program, we're then going to go to the process name drop down menu and find Valorant Win64 shipping.exe. Right click on the application, and we can start off by going to priority class. Go down to always and make sure that high is selected with inside of here. If high isn't selected and you don't see the tick next to it, click on high. This will then select the option. We can then take ourselves down to the CPU affinity tab. Go with inside of CPU affinity, go to always again, and this is where things can get quite interesting. Depending on your system specs, if you have around about 8 CPUs or more available with inside of here, it is actually recommended to actually try and disable CPU 0 by selecting it, going back with inside of those options, so CPU affinity, always, and with it deselected, this will mean that Valorant is using the second CPU core with inside of your CPU as its primary core. Again, this is quite experimental, but for the most part, for most systems, this will actually improve your FPS. And this goes for other games as well. So once you guys have got those settings changed, we can then just minimize out of the process lasso tool, and we're then good to go. All of those options are then applied automatically as long as the program is running every single time you boot the game. For another further tweak to our in-game settings which can vitally improve your FPS if you're not experiencing the results you are wishing for, is we can actually tweak around our config file with inside of the game. This is completely safe to do, this is not ban worthy, and everything we're going to be changing is completely fine. What we're going to be doing is navigating to the bottom left hand side, clicking on the Windows key, typing in %appdata% just like so, then pressing enter. Once inside of here, we're then going to go up to the app data folder found here in the navigation menu. We're then going to go inside of the local folder, scroll all the way down, and we're going to be looking for the V section, finding the Valorant folder within inside of here. Go inside of saved, go inside of config, then go inside of the folder which is going to be named with a bunch of different random numbers and letters, double click, go inside of Windows, then go into the game user settings configuration file by double clicking. The options in which we're going to be looking to change with inside of here can be found by simply scrolling down and going to sg.resolution quality. For nearly everyone watching this video, your resolution quality is going to be set to 100, and this is a 100% value. This means that the game is rendering 100% of the screen resolution in which we selected earlier. So if you're running at 1080p and this is set to 100, your game is natively going to be rendering 1080p. There's going to be some values on the right hand side of the screen now which are recommended for your system specs, and values you should set up depending on the results in which you're looking for. If you guys are not achieving great FPS even after doing all of these optimizations, I'd recommend starting off with a value of 70. Make sure that you're setting this to 70 and not 700. You will need to remove a value with inside of here, so make sure it's set between 10 and 100 with inside of here. So use the values on the right hand side of the screen. Once you guys have set the value you wish to try it out, go to the top left hand side, click on File, click on Save, and we can then go ahead and exit out. For another quick optimization towards your mouse settings with inside of here, we can then go ahead to the bottom left hand side, click on the Windows key, type in mouse space settings just like so, click on the mouse settings tab, go to the top right hand side to additional mouse options. With inside of here, go to the pointer options, and actually make sure that enhanced pointer precision is turned off. You can then drag this slider all the way to the left hand side. Use your arrow keys for this, and we're going to be counting 5 in, meaning that the first option is actually 1. To start off, we'll be at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once you guys have reached number 6 with inside of there, we're then going to go down to the bottom right hand side to apply, press OK, and that now means that we have true one-to-one movement with inside of Windows. We can then go ahead and actually exit out of that option. Now moving on to some of the last and final optimizations with inside of this video, we're going to be now optimizing the GPU settings. Before doing this, it's important to make sure that you're running on the latest graphics card driver for your GPU installed, as these are completely free and supported by all manufacturers of all GPUs out there, so regardless of the make or model of your GPU, you should be running on the latest driver. So to check or update your GPU drivers, it's important that we make sure that we know which GPU manufacturer your GPU is by. To do this, right click on the desktop and you'll either be seeing the Nvidia control panel or AMD Radeon settings panel. If you're only seeing Intel options with inside of here, that's fine, you can skip this step, but if you see Nvidia or AMD Radeon, go into the description down below and click on the corresponding link for your GPU make. For you Nvidia Geforce guys, to update your driver it's very simple and easy to do. Go to the automatic driver updates utility found here, click on the download button, download the program, open it up, it will then detect and install the latest graphics card driver for the GPU you have installed. For you AMD Radeon users, it's a very similar process. Go down to the auto detect and install Radeon graphics driver for Windows utility, click download now. Once the program has been downloaded, open up the program, it will then detect and install the latest graphics card driver for the GPU you have installed. Once you guys have done that, it's important to go inside of the FPS increase pack provided again, this time going with inside of the optimizations folder, then going inside of the GPU settings folder found here at the top. With inside of here you'll be finding an AMD Radeon folder and an Nvidia Geforce folder. Click on the folder which corresponds to the graphics card you have installed and you'll be finding a few screenshots with inside of there which are very easy to follow along with, which show the best options for them and the settings you should be setting up inside of the control panels. It's incredibly important and vital that you do this optimization, as you can be seeing some fantastic results just from changing these settings. For the next optimization, what we're going to be doing is going inside of the FPS increase pack provided, going inside of the optimizations folder and going down to the reg optimization fixes folder. We're going to be applying all of these optimization fixes with inside of here to ensure that the Windows registry is putting a higher priority towards gaming applications and heavy workloads with inside of the system, and easing off some of the restrictions to ensure that we're getting the best performance possible all of the time when it needs it. If at any point after applying these optimizations found here you wish to revert any of them back to stock, you can easily do so by going inside of this folder found here, the default reg files to revert to stock folder, double clicking and going ahead and selecting all of these options with inside of here, enabling them, and this will re-enable the stock value before we change them. But what we're going to be doing is going back and actually starting off with disable DVR1, selecting yes, yes, okay. And once you guys have got down to here, you'll then be seeing the low to medium end optimization and the medium to high end optimization. For the best results for your PC, it's recommended to click on the optimization which best matches your system specs. For me, I'm recording this video on my ultra high end gaming PC, so I'm going to be going with medium to high, double clicking, yes, yes, and okay. Once all of those optimizations have been set, go ahead and exit out the folder. Proceeding on from there, what we can then go ahead and do is actually navigate to the bottom left hand side, type in power space plan just like so, clicking on edit power plan or any of the options that come available with that icon, go up to the power options tab in the navigation menu at the top found here, go to the show additional power plans drop down menu, and we're going to be looking for the ultimate performance power plan with inside of here. If you guys have set this power plan up in the past and you're thinking about skipping this option because you've already done it, it is worthwhile coming back with inside of the power options to check if the power plan still exists. If you haven't seen this optimization before and have no idea what I'm talking about, this is highly recommended to actually unlock, and I'm going to be showing you how to do that now. The ultimate performance power plan with inside of Windows 10 is a secret power plan which you can enable. It provides the ultimate performance towards gaming heavy workloads and other power hungry tasks to ensure that Windows has the full potential of the PC available to it, to ensure that you're not experiencing as many slowdowns or stutters. So to enable this power plan, it's very simple and easy to do. Go inside of the FPS pack provided, go into the command text document. This time we're going to be copying the command at the top here, highlighting everything with inside of here, right clicking, selecting copy. Minimizing out, going to the bottom left hand side, typing in CMD, right clicking on command prompt, open it as an administrator, selecting yes. Command prompt has to be open as an administrator, as when you put in this command, if it's not in administrator mode, nothing will be recognized and nothing will happen. Once inside of it, go ahead and press Ctrl plus V. Once the command has then been pasted in, press enter. You'll then be seeing Power Scheme GUID Ultimate Performance. Once you see that, go ahead to the top right hand side, exit out of command prompt. You can then go back into the power options in which we minimized earlier. Go up to the navigation menu at the top, click the refresh button, and you'll then be seeing the newly available Ultimate Performance Power Plan. Go to the selectable option next to it, select the power plan just like so, and we're then good to go ahead and exit out. This now leads us on to a very quick optimization for Discord users. This will not affect Discord's performance or how it works, and it's highly recommended to use this if you have Discord running in the background, even if you're not using it to talk to people. If you're a Discord user, you should be applying this optimization. So simply open up Discord, go to the bottom left hand side to your user settings, click on the user settings cog, navigate to the left hand side once again, and we're going to be looking for the appearance tab. Once in the appearance tab, go ahead and scroll all the way to the bottom, go to the advanced section, and we're going to be looking for the option for hardware acceleration. If the flicker switch is turned to the on position like mine is, simply go over to the right hand side, click on it, disable it, then press OK, and Discord will then be restarted and hardware acceleration will then be disabled. This now leads us on to the last, final, and arguably the most vital optimization within inside of this entire video. For this optimization, we're going to be going inside of the FPS increase pack provided one last time, going inside of the optimizations folder, and finding the folder for ISLC and dragging this onto the desktop. Once inside of here, we can then go ahead and double click on the folder, and you're probably wondering what this program is. This is for the Intelligent Standby List Cleaner, or ISLC. This is a sort of 2-in-1 optimization program. The first part of the program is actually the Intelligent Standby List Cleaner, which helps you reserve a pool of RAM in the background to ensure that your game has excess RAM available to it, and the second part of the program, which is almost the most important part, is the built-in timer resolution program. This is an optimization in which I've recommended for years, and it's a simple tweak in which you can actually allow Windows to have a lot lower latency between the operating system, hardware you have installed, and the game application itself, making everything feel a lot more snappier and responsive. So to start off, click on Intelligent Standby List Cleaner, select yes, and if the program doesn't open up, take yourself to the bottom right hand side to the task icon tray, then go ahead and click on the green monitor. If you can't change any options with inside of it, just like so, go down to the stop button, click that. Then to set this up, what we're going to be doing is going for the first box, typing a value of 1024. For the second box, we're going to be setting this number to roughly half of our total system memory. You can see your total system memory found here at the top. As you can see, I have 32,000. Roughly half that number, which is about 16,000 for me, input that value with inside of here. Then navigate over to the right hand side, check the box for enable custom time resolution, go to the wanted time resolution box and type a value of 0.50. Then use the delete key to remove the other values. Then finally go down to the ISLC polling rate, go to the drop down menu. For high-end PCs, set this to 500, for lower-end PCs, set this to 1000. And once you've got that set up, then go ahead to the right hand side, click start, hit purge standby list, and you'll then see it's cleared out around about 11 gigabytes of pooled memory in the background. At that point, what we're then going to go ahead and do is minimize the program, and there is one last thing left to do, and that is to actually boot into Valorant and check out your brand new, highly optimized game experience. And there you guys have it. That is the ultimate guide to increasing FPS with inside of Valorant, helping you achieve the best competitive settings, maintaining a great visual fidelity, and overall boosting the experience in which you are having. If you guys would kindly leave your results, questions, queries, or suggestions for other content or games you wish to see me cover on the channel, and if you guys did enjoy this video, please do like the video as it helps me out tremendously. And if you guys do enjoy this sort of content, please do consider pressing the subscription button alongside the bell notification to be notified instantly of every single time a video goes live on my channel. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video, guys. I've been PANJ, and I'll see you in the next one.